Man, oh man, I'm at the part where April kneels at the vending machine, and I know Karai's gonna, yep, here she is. I know Karai's gonna pop out and, like, kidnap her for the shredder. It's just like, this rendition of Ninja Turtles just really hates seeing April O'Neil being free. This poor little girl, she's being kidnapped and, like, sought after by Shredder and his goons and the Krang just so much in this series. Anyways, what's going on, my non-existent viewers? Is TVB. This is part 11 of Turtle Tuesday. And once again, this is going to be one of those, like, double features where I review 2 Ninja Turtles episodes and review a movie I just saw on this lovely Discount Tuesday. I finally saw Red One. I figured I'd give it a chance because, like, I heard about how this film was tanking at the box office, like a lot of movies nowadays with big budgets, and how it had like a 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was hearing not so good things about the film, but Daily Reacts told me, like, he was messaging me about it. He had some nice things to say about it, said it was funny and that good stuff. So I figured, you know, might as well give it a chance. And yeah, this movie's, like, Red One, it's nothing you haven't seen before. Like, it's not destined to be like a holiday masterpiece. Also, I love how the aquatic crank monster in this episode looks like Nessie the Loch Ness Monster. This shows a version of a you know, the sea creature. But anyways, yeah, I also really like the world building in Red One. I honestly, this film didn't bomb at the box office. I could have seen it being an intriguing franchise because it's like Santa Claus, he's played by J.K. Simmons in this movie, and, you know, his bodyguard's played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he has a talking polar bear friend named Garcia, and there's trolls, there's elves, there's all these different, like, mythical characters and, you know, creatures from various, like, folklores and legends and myths. And it's like, basically Santa is like the head of this organization that, like, takes care of, like, the mythological world, and it's like, ooh. And not to mention the gadgets that Dwayne Johnson uses to turn, like, Christmas toys into, like, weapons and stuff like that, and, like, vehicles. There's a lot of really intriguing stuff throughout the film that had potential. I just think the marketing really did this movie in. It's just like, the pacing is all over the place, and the dialogue, it does get pretty stiff at a couple of scenes. Like I said, this movie's really nothing you guys haven't seen before. Like, it's fast-paced, it's got, like, it's one of those, it tries to be one of those, like, action, like, you know, comedy sort of, like, mixed together. And I did get a couple of good chuckles from this film, but I feel like there's just scenes that where things are just happening just because the plot is demanding it, without going to spoilers, obviously. And there are things that are happening that aren't really making any sense, or scenes where it just gets confusing. But overall, I did have a decent time with Red One. I'll give it like a 5 out of 9 stars. It's a passable film. Again, not destined to be like a holiday classic by any means, but like, if you are looking, I would, like, if next year when this movie's eventually on streaming services, if you feel like having it as background noise during your Christmas dinner with your relatives, like, honestly, I think this movie probably would have done better. I agree with other, like, movie reviewers I've watched talk about this movie, where, like, if this movie was PG instead of PG-13, it probably would have done better at the box office. But I digress. Anyways, back to the Ninja Turtles. Alrighty, Sharky is back after last week to join us for the rest of this video. And, I take back what I said earlier in this video about April being like, oh, poor April, because she actually kicks Karai's butt. Karai is chasing her down the street, and Karai gets her into a hold, and then, you know, April reveals that she lost her mother, just like Karai did. That's one thing they have in common. And then she, like, breaks free from Karai's restraint and then hides in the sewers of the Turtles and Master Splinter. So, like, finally her training with Splinter is paying off. And again, I'm like, hold on, 3 minutes into the episode, the Pulverizer returns, which I'm very curious to see the Pulverizer return after one episode. And I'm honestly getting at the hint that we're gonna see a redemption arc for all 3 of Shredder's, like, main minions, Karai, Dog Pound, and Fishface. Because the Shredder is, like, expressing a lot of anger towards Dog Pound for, like, you know, not training the foot soldiers be better soldiers. And Dog Pound is, like, clearly afraid of the Shredder. You know, obviously we saw Zever be, you know, Fishface be a good team with Raphael in the episode Baxter's Gimmick, which I actually have rewatched that episode twice. I think that's my favorite episode in the series, like, just so far. Again, these are all purely speculations. I'm watching this show mostly blind, not really, because this is my first time watching 2012 show in its entirety. Like, we'll see if my predictions turn out, if we're ever going to see redemption arc for any of those three guys. You know, for the Shredder, and we'll see how things play out, I guess. So I'm at the part where they find out that, like, the Pulverizer is now part of the Foot Clan. And this is, by the way, this is week 2 of me practicing my multitasking skills of, like, talking about whatever movie I just saw that night and Ninja Turtles at the same time I'm watching the episode. Like, you know, that I'm reviewing. And, like, Pulverizer is, you know, he's a stupid teenager that he joins the Foot Clan and he becomes cannon fodder for the Foot Clan. Because, yeah, it's... and I'm at like the 8-minute mark into the episode where they all switch weapons because, you know, Splinter gets frustrated thinking that, you know, all the turtles are being too complacent and, you know, just like being too skilled with their respective weapons, but not enough with the other weapons that the other turtles are using. So they have everyone like switch weapons, right? And Mikey gets Leo's swords. I don't want to keep harping on The Last Ronin getting a film adaptation too much in these episodes, right? But like, I just think it's I feel like either that's foreshadowing or it's just the scene aging like, you know, a fine whiskey that they all switch weapons. Because in The Last Ronin comic book, obviously Mikey is the last of the 4 turtles and he takes all 4 weapons, you know, the nunchucks, the swords, the sais, and the bow staff, and goes on his whole revenge quest. Which, I just think the fact that they're using weapons in this episode that aren't their own as part of, like, an exercise with Splinter is like, oh, that's, like, aging like a... That's aged so well. The Pulverizer is so stupid, it is unbelievable. Like, he volunteers to be an experiment on with the mutant Jin in a dimension where it's extremely unstable, right? And he's telling Donnie and the Turtles over the phone, and now he's going off be like, how cool is this? I'm gonna be a mutant just like you guys. It's like, I am very curious to see what he's gonna mutate into, like what animal he'll be like hybridized with, I guess. But still, the Pulverizer, it's like, I wonder if we're gonna see more of him throughout, if he's gonna be like a reoccurring character, you know, throughout the series. And if yes, like, is his intelligence gonna improve at all, or is he gonna stay just like so unbelievably stupid like this? Sharky, yes! Donnie is fighting the foot soldiers in the Krang with a broom! A broom! Yes, yes, yes! I've always, because Splinter gets mad at the Turtles for, like, disobeying his lesson about, like, you know, switching weapons. And, like, they go in with no weapons, and Donnie comes in to rescue the Pulverizer, and he finds a broom and he's using it like his bow staff. I work, you know, me working at the zoo since September, it's like we use brooms and squeegees and rakes and shovels all the time while cleaning the exhibits, you know, with the gorillas and, you know, copies and the bonobos. And it's like, I've always wondered what it'd be like if the zoo was just like attacked by like an army of skeletons or mutants or aliens or whatever else, and we, the zoo employees, just had to defend the zoo with just whatever random objects, like what the Turtles are doing this episode. Just, you know, like wooden planks, brooms, you know, just random tools and objects, pipes, and stuff like that, just around the place, and just, like, defend the zoo with just random objects. Like, I'm wondering if, like, you know, if Odin and, like, the Norse gods are the ones who are gonna judge me after I die. Like, if I die in battle fighting skeletons with a broom in my hand, does that get me the Valhalla pass? Will the Valkyries send me to Valhalla if I die while using a broom as my weapon? Any of you Vikings out there, please answer that question in the comments. Alright, so I just got done watching the Pulverizer Returns episode. I'm gonna wrap up the video by, like, saying this. You know, they rescue, the Turtles save themselves, and, you know, Timothy, that's the Pulverizer's name, as he's now this blobby, like, jello monster that Donnie's gonna keep in his lab. And it's like, the Shredder ends the episode by saying, like, oh, it seemed to have a common enemy. He's referring to both, like, his minions and the Krang. It's like, the 3 separate, like, factions. It's like the Mutant Turtles, and it's them versus the Shredder and the Foot Clan versus the other mutants. So it's like there's mutants that are, it's like the Turtles are the Turtles, and then there's like the mutants who are not the Turtles, like, so it's Turtles versus everyone else basically. And the Shredder and, like, and, you know, the mutants like mutants and aliens working together against other mutants, which I'm very curious to see like how much those lines are gonna be flipped and blurred throughout the series, and if like Donnie ends up curing the Pulverizer from this mutation, maybe he could hypothetically do the same thing to Zevers and Bradford's. We'll see if like they stay enemies throughout the series, or if we're ever gonna see like a turtle like Shredder's minion like team up episode again. We'll see how that plays out, I suppose. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, have a good night. Stay beastly.